We've been blessed with yet another Geno Smith primetime game, but will we dare to roster him? That and more on the Run the Sims podcast. I'm your host, Adam Wilde. We have New Orleans set to take on Seattle. Seattle is at home and they are giving up 4.5 points. The total is 42. The New Orleans Saints are projected 23.5 points. Seattle Seahawks are projected 19 points. Now we get to the long part, the injuries for the Saints. Taysom Hill will not play. Dwayne Washington will not play. Tony Jones will not play. Deontay Harris will not play. Michael Thomas still will not play. Traquan Smith still probably won't play. He has opened up his 21-day window to which he can return from IR or be done for the season. Nick Vannett will not play. On the Seattle side of the ball, no Russell Wilson, so we've got another Geno Smith week. Alex Collins sounds like he's going to be fine, according to Pete Carroll, so we'll see how much we trust that. Rashad Penny almost definitely going to be making his return this week. So what's the split going to look like between Alex Collins and Rashad Penny? Chris Carson, of course, is out. D. Eskridge also out. So we have some ambiguity in the backfield that we need to discuss this week. Let's head over to our optimal results. Of course, Alvin Kamara is appearing in 90% of total lineups. That's going to be 46% in the flex, 43% in the captain. DK Metcalf is appearing in 41% in the flex, only 15% captain. That's a huge disparity, a bigger disparity than maybe we've seen all season between the top captain and the second captain, especially since Alvin Kamara is not a quarterback. So Alvin Kamara being projected in 43% of the total lineups, and then DK Metcalf not being projected in more than 15% of the total lineups. The third highest projected captain is Marquez Callaway, and only 10% of the captain lineups. The quarterbacks, Geno Smith is only in 5% of the captain spots. Jameis Winston's only in 3% of the captain spots. Probably the only other viable option is Tyler Lockett, 8% of the captain spots. So let's go back and see. We've got Alvin Kamara in 90% of total lineups, DK Metcalf in 56% of total lineups, Geno Smith in 55% total, Winston in 46% total, Callaway in 46% total, and Tyler Lockett in 41% total. So let's get some of the cheaper players that are going to have to make up this top heavy lineups. Freddie Swain is only $2,000 and he is going to be in 34% of total lineups. And then Juwan Johnson. So all those injuries we talked about for the New Orleans receiving group, Juwan Johnson has played more of a receiving role in his limited snaps at tight end anyways. He's going to be in 28% of total lineups. Kenny Stills making an appearance of only 1.6 thousand, and he is going to be in 28% of total lineups. Sorry, 1.6K or 1,600. He's going to be in 28% of total lineups. And then Saints defense is making a pretty strong appearance at 23%. We don't see defenses get that much run the Sims that often. So at 23.9%, that's pretty high for a defense. We're just basically factoring a bad Geno week. I loved playing Geno last week, and that bit me pretty hard. So it might be time to go back to him just because of the fact that he's going to be so low owned. But that was why I played him last week. So do we double that? I don't know. Let's talk about Alex Collins and Rashad Penny. Alex Collins is at 19% total rostership, and Rashad Penny's at 16%. So we've got him pretty much as a toss-up. And as you know, I like to play two running backs from teams if I can, if it makes sense. So I won't mind playing Alex Collins and Rashad Penny, especially since we have the Seattle Seahawks projected for a little bit more running than normal. That's not too terribly high, but at least a little bit more than normal. And then Seattle Seahawks defense is making it into 15% total lineups. So let's go over and look at a couple custom lineups, build a couple lineups, and then check out the projections. Top lineups: DK Metcalf at captain, Geno Smith, Freddie Swain, Alvin Kamara, Tyler Lockett, Kenny Stills. I love this 4x2. Kenny Stills is going to be popular at 1,600 with such a decimated receiving group. So he might be a tough play at ownership, but definitely a strong lineup. Definitely feels like a cash lineup. Next best lineup is appearing at a 26 frequency of 26. That's Alvin Kamara at captain, Juwan Johnson, Marquez Callaway, New Orleans Saints, Freddie Swain, Jameis Winston. So you see not too big on the two quarterbacks. We'll go through a couple more. You're going to see that most of these are Alvin Kamara or DK Metcalf lineups. Let's get down to this Geno Smith lineup because I'm still going to play Geno Smith at captain. It didn't work last week, but that just means ownership is going to be even lower this week. And Geno Smith also didn't look terrible last week. He looked like a backup, sure, but he looked like a functioning backup. And he fumbled the game away at the end, but a lot of quarterbacks would have made that fumble just like the week prior. Wasn't a terrible pass to Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Lockett tripped. It happens. So if everybody wants to think Geno Smith is absolutely terrible, um, he's not great, but he's definitely functional. He's good enough to be in a captain spot in this game. So we've got Geno Smith at captain, DK Metcalf, Kenny Stills, Alvin Kamara, Tyler Lockett, Freddie Swain. This was a strategy I used last week, playing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett together. A lot of people like to choose one or the other, and it's also a 4x2 with the underdogs. I love doing that as well, especially with an underdog at captain. We'll look at Marquez Callaway. So Marquez Callaway at captain, Rashad Penny, Alvin Kamara, DK Metcalf, Geno Smith, and Freddie Swain. So let's head over to DraftKings, and I'm just going to start with Geno Smith at captain. I mean, Alvin Kamara is going to be in 40% of the lineups at captain, so play a ton of Alvin Kamara at captain, even with high ownership. I showed you that DK Metcalf is going to be in 15% of the captain lineups. If you want to play Tyler Lockett at captain, if you're only doing like 3 max, even single entry, and you know that DK Metcalf is going to be higher owned, I don't mind playing Tyler Lockett at captain. Hasn't had much success with Geno Smith in the first 2 games. But that could change on the dime with the Seattle offense. So it's always good practice to just take the Seattle receiver that's projected less ownership. But we'll start with Geno Smith at captain, and we're going to go ahead and try DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett again. See if we can get Alvin Kamara. Now we have 2,000 to work with. There are so many cheap plays this week. Easily we could go Kenny Stills and Freddie Swain. We could go Juwan Johnson and Kenny Stills. Rashad Penny is down here somewhere. So you're just going to take Geno Smith, the captain, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Alvin Kamara, and just mix and match. Rashad Penny's down here at 26. So I'm going to go Penny. No, I can't go Penny and Stills. So let's do Juwan Johnson and Stills. How about that? All right. So we've got Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Alvin Kamara, Juwan Johnson, Kenny Stills. I usually don't like to go 3x3. It's just the most popular build by quite a bit. So if you can avoid it, try to. So in that case, I'm going to take out Juwan Johnson and go Freddie Swain. Okay, so this lineup looks great to me. Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Freddie Swain, Alvin Kamara, and Kenny Stills. 4x2 underdogs. Geno Smith, a captain. He's going to be a quarterback probably under 5% ownership at captain. Don't quote me yet. We'll get the ownership projections in tomorrow morning, but probably going to be like 5%. People got burned last week, so they're probably not going to go back there again. Definitely a good time to capitalize. And you could also take this lineup and switch in Tyler Lockett if you wanted to. So we can go Tyler Lockett captain and then put in Geno Smith, and it still fits. And you leave 700 on this table, which is something that we like to see. So before we get out of here, let's go over to the projections. Alvin Kamara is projected 29 points. This is why he will probably be in every one of the lineups that you see. He's projected for almost 30 points, while DK Metcalf is second with only 18. So 11 points more than anybody else. Not worth fading. Not worth fading at 100% ownership. Just play Alvin Kamara and make it a 5-person slate. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Jameis Winston is also being projected to 18. So if you want to fade Jameis Winston and play DK Metcalf, totally viable. DK Metcalf might come in a little bit less ownership. I don't know how excited people are going to be to play Jameis Winston, but quarterback inherently carries a lot of ownership. They have a pretty high floor on ownership. Geno Smith at 17.1. That's another way to fade Jameis Winston if you want to go Geno Smith. Projected just about the same, and Geno will certainly carry less ownership at a lower price. Marquez Callaway is pretty much the last man standing in terms of productive New Orleans wide receivers. He's projected 15.6 points. That's actually higher than Tyler Lockett, just slightly. Tyler Lockett's projected 14.9. Then you take another little dip to Alex Collins at 9 points, Saints at 8 points, Freddie Swain at 8 points, Juwan Johnson at 7.3, Brian Johnson, the kicker, at 7, Jason Myers, the other kicker, at 7, and then Kenny Stills at 7. Gerald Everett, someone that I didn't mention. He's a play strictly for ownership at 4,400. He's not going to get much ownership whatsoever, especially with 4 to 5 solid options on the very, very low end. So Gerald Everett is always a good play, in my opinion, for the Seattle Seahawks. He's just an electric player. Um, he's got familiarity with the coaching staff, so I don't mind throwing him in if I'm doing like a 20 max or even a 150 max. Rashad Penny, he's probably going to be decently owned, but he's being projected for 6 points, and he is only 2,600. Adam Troutman is going to have almost zero ownership, and he probably should not have any ownership. He's being projected 5.7 points. Seattle Seahawks, 4.7 points. So you get the gist after that. I mean, I guess Will Disley's worth mentioning, 3,400. Since I mentioned Gerald Everett, Will Disley is decent enough play at 3,400, a whole thousand less than Gerald Everett, and he's being projected 3.7 points. So that's going to do it for today. Good luck, everybody, and I hope you enjoy your Monday night showdown slate. Peace.